Hello, today is Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. Here is your daily signal. According to Fortune, tensions between the United States and Iran have surged after Iran's supreme leader vowed revenge for the assassination of his father, openly threatening to close the critical Strait of Hormuz. The strait is a strategic passage handling roughly 21 million barrels of oil per day, or 21% of global petroleum liquids, amplifying concerns across global markets and security circles. Relations between Washington and Tehran have sharply deteriorated in 2026, fueled by retaliatory threats from President Donald Trump and escalating naval confrontations in the region. Iranian officials recently claimed to have struck a vessel using an unauthorized route, and repeated their closure of the strait, as documented by Fortune and the Associated Press, heightening fears of a breakdown in the fragile ceasefire. On July 11th, President Trump issued a warning about a potential dead man switch, suggesting that Vice President J.D. Vance would handle retaliation if Trump was assassinated. Key stakeholders include President Trump, Iran's supreme leader, Vice President Vance, CENTCOM, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and major oil firms dependent on safe passage. These developments raise near-term risks of immediate disruption in energy markets, likely triggering a spike in crude oil prices and jeopardizing shipping in the Persian Gulf. Should the ceasefire fail, direct military exchanges could further destabilize regional security, with medium-term consequences including greater militarization of the waterway, accelerated global decoupling from Gulf oil, and escalated covert actions. Continued escalation could prompt U.S. allies to invoke collective security mechanisms and dramatically affect global shipping insurance rates. Next, we turn to global energy markets. Fortune reports that global oil demand is declining, and crude prices are down, but prices for gasoline, diesel, and other refined products remain high, especially in the U.S., where gasoline consumption actually rose in Q2 2026. Despite lower crude oil prices, refined fuels are expensive largely due to diverging regional trends and bottlenecks in refining. In recent months, global oil demand has fallen sharply, yet inflationary pressures and supply chain challenges continue to propel fuel costs independently from crude movements. Fortune highlights that, even as global oil use slumps, the U.S. stands out with increased gasoline demand, contributing to persistent price disparities at the pump. Major oil-producing countries, including OPEC, continue to influence crude supply, while refining companies and downstream operators set refined product prices. U.S. consumers feel the impact most acutely. In the near term, consumers in high-demand areas like the U.S. may experience sustained high fuel costs. Looking forward, refiners could face mounting pressure to upgrade capacity and efficiency, while policymakers might intervene with subsidies or regulation if these price gaps persist. Disjointed price movements risk distorting inflation statistics and complicating economic forecasts. Next, on to cybersecurity advances. Next Big Future reports that dramatic advances in quantum computing have dramatically reduced the resources needed for Shor's algorithm to potentially crack RSA 2048 encryption, which underpins Internet security. Shor's algorithm, first proposed in 1994, allows large number factorization, potentially threatening widely used RSA-based cryptography. RSA 2048 is the backbone of many secure online communications, currently seen as robust against classical computing. But recent breakthroughs in resource optimization and quantum hardware have shifted practical timelines for cryptanalysis. Over the past 18 months, research has slashed theoretical quantum demands, yet as of July 2026, breaking RSA 2048 still requires multi-day runs and billions of physical qubits. Stakeholders include top academic labs at MIT and the University of Waterloo, Google Quantum AI, government bodies like NIST, hardware leaders IBM and IonQ, cybersecurity firms, and critical internet infrastructure providers. In the near term, resource reductions may accelerate the global transition to quantum-resistant cryptography. Medium-term implications include urgent updates to security protocols, rising incentives for nation-state investment in quantum technology, possible emergence of new cybersecurity threats, and financial risks for firms reliant on legacy encryption if quantum breakthroughs materialize ahead of schedule. Now, onto the markets. European international equities traded lower today, with Germany's EWG closing at 41.23 and France's EWQ at 44.83. Netherlands saw the steepest daily decline. United Kingdom's EWU also slipped, but Italy and Spain showed modest month-over-month gains. Chile and Africa posted the sharpest drops among emerging markets, with Chile's ECH down by over 2% on the day, while Indonesia eked out a slight daily gain. In commodities, gold fell 2.6% and silver dropped over 3%, while U.S. oil surged more than 8% to lead the group. Lithium ETF LIT lost nearly 3%, and uranium ETF URA dropped over 5% today. Among favorites, Adobe outperformed with a strong 3.1% daily gain and over 11% monthly momentum. Meanwhile, Nvidia and Intel experienced notable declines, both falling over 3% today. Microsoft edged higher by 1.5%, while Oracle had the largest daily drop, down more than 6%. Within S&P sectors, SP 500 declined slightly, while healthcare and finance gained modestly, and semiconductors ETF stocks dropped nearly 5% on the day. Top gainer V soared nearly 19 points, up over 394%, while BNBX posted the day's steepest loss, falling more than 65% and closing at 0.163. That's it for today. You can find more news and details on our website. Goodbye.